Our world faces multiple crises and an uncertain future. Maybe we should look to the past for inspiration.
ये हजारों लाखों करोड़ों वर्षों से युग युगांतरों से चले आई परंपरा है.
Yoga is a multi-billion-dollar industry today. Yoga studios have sprung up in almost every corner of the globe. Charismatic yoga gurus have gathered large groups of followers worldwide. For many people, yoga has become a way of life.
There are thriving yoga communities around the world. And in fact, a lot of the yoga experts from India have moved abroad.
Some people even contend that yoga could offer a solution to many of the world's problems, particularly the severe environmental crisis we face today.
Yoga is one thing that helps us understand our limits.
Could this really be the case? Or are you tempted to say, you gotta be kidding? I'm sorry, that was terrible. Our planet is around 4.5 billion years old. Homo sapiens appeared on Earth only around 130,000 years ago. This means we've been here for about 0.000028% of the Earth's existence. Yet, in this remarkably short period of time, we have occupied nearly all parts of the planet, enslaved millions of our fellow human beings, fought 2 world wars, and as far as the environment is concerned, had a devastating impact.
I have this one particular graph which shows the CO2 variations over the past 400,000 years and the last 100 years, So the CO2 variations are like a ECG, it just keeps going up and down, and then suddenly there's this last 150, 200 years, like a tiny period of time where it goes like woof off the charts. You might as well think that it's a glitch.
We have contributed to global warming that has heated the oceans by the equivalent of dropping 1 atomic bomb into the ocean every second for the past 150 years.
The US Army has actually classified climate change as the #1 national security risk. We are utilizing the Earth's resources without thinking about how we're going to replenish them. So this whole change started with the Industrial Revolution, and it has really accelerated a lot in the last 50 years. World Wildlife Fund has estimated that about 58% of our species have gone extinct. The Amazon rainforest is being destroyed by development. We are having landslides in the Himalayas. All our glaciers are melting.
Cataclysms like tsunamis, wildfires, and hurricanes don't judge individuals and selectively punish. They are blunt and brutal.
In terms of extreme events, especially floods, droughts, even our the cyclonic events that have happened in this year, enormous, so many, and so because of which again we have received heavier rainfall. So all these are happening around us, and if we just pay attention, I think we'll be able to notice that it's no longer something of the news or newspaper media. No, it's right outside our windows.
Today, reversing what we have done to the planet is not an act of compassion toward other species, but to ourselves, for our own survival. But how did we let it get to this stage? Experts cite many factors. The cutting down of forests, the burning of fossil fuels, livestock farming, using products that release greenhouse gases. But Heartfulness guide and Raja Yoga teacher Daaджи points out to a deeper problem that may be the indirect cause of the planet's crisis.
Now, the root cause of all these things is not understanding at a mental level what we are supposed to do. Your mind is not working properly.
Daaджи contends that every action has a thought behind it, and if this thought is misguided, then the action that follows will be misguided too. In today's world, unfortunately, much of our behavior is being guided by greed and excess.
If everybody lived my particular lifestyle right now that I'm living as an individual, how many earths we would need? And the sad fact is, the average American, and coming from America, I'm sad to share this, the average American's ecological footprint is such that we need 7 earths to be able to sustain our lifestyle.
This is where Daaджи believes yoga can help. Now I know what you're thinking. How will yoga solve the world's environmental crisis? It seems like a bit of a, pardon the pun, stretch. Let's hear from someone who has brought yoga to millions across the globe.
जिस तरह से मनुष्य के सामने अलग अलग प्रकार के फिजिकल इलनेस, शारीरिक व्याधियाँ, मानसिक चुनौतियाँ और अलग अलग प्रकार की जो वैश्विक चुनौतियाँ हैं, सामाजिक, आर्थिक, राजनीतिक, धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक, वैयक्तिक, पारिवारिक, जो जितने भी चुनौतियाँ हैं, उसका सॉल्यूशन का मार्ग जो है ना योग से निकलता है। इसलिए जो अभी पूज्य दाजी ने भी कहा कि मनुष्य, उसको पता तो है कि वो उससे कुछ छूट रहा है, कुछ चूक रहा है वो, और धीरे धीरे अलग अलग कारणों से जो भी हो रहा है कि मनुष्य योग से, अध्यात्म से, ध्यान से जो दूर गया है, वो वापस इसी की शरण में आएगा, क्योंकि उस को स्वास्थ्य हो, सुख हो, शांति हो और समृद्धि हो और उसमें शाश्वतता हो। क्षणिक सुख, क्षणिक स्वास्थ्य तो मिल ही जाता है ना, क्षणिक आनंद भी मिल जाता है, लेकिन ये शाश्वत सुख उसको इस अध्यात्म के मार्ग से मिलेगा। इसलिए चाहे वो सूर्य नमस्कार है, चाहे वो अष्टांग योग है, ज्ञान योग, भक्ति योग, कर्म योग, योग की जो विविध धाराएं हैं, मनुष्य इस ओर लौटेगा, क्योंकि ये उसकी मूल मांग है और इसी में उसकी समस्याओं का शाश्वत समाधान है।
The views of Yoga Rishi Swami Ramdev Ji are being echoed across India, the birthplace of yoga. Although yoga has been practiced here for thousands of years, what we are witnessing now is a renewed interest and an understanding of the true meaning of yoga.
आसन संपूर्ण योग शास्त्र का एक अंग है, वो सब कुछ नहीं है। आसन के साथ साथ प्राणायाम भी आता है, ध्यान भी आता है, और मुख्य बात है कि ये सब करने के बाद क्या परिणाम मिलना चाहिए। योग के प्रचार में योग के स्वास्थ्य के लिए लाभ बताए जाते हैं, वो सब सही है और बताने भी चाहिए, और उसके लिए भी योग का आचरण होना कोई गलत बात नहीं। परंतु योग एक संपूर्ण जीवन पद्धति है जो जीवन को एक ध्येय देती है, एक दिशा देती है, एक अनुशासन देती है। ऐसा समग्र आचरण करने पर योग के कारण संपूर्ण जीवन में एक अत्यंत उज्जवल और हितकारी परिवर्तन आता है।
Much of our understanding of yoga comes from the Yoga Sutras of Maharishi Patanjali. This sage of ancient India collected all the research in the field of yoga and transcribed it into the Yoga Sutras. Maharishi Patanjali speaks of the 8 limbs of yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga. It is said that even if the first limb of Ashtanga Yoga is adopted in its true sense, it can lead to a massive transformation in the world. So let's explore it in detail. The first step of Ashtanga Yoga is yama.
You know, people think of yama as self-discipline or a set of vows or disciplines to refine yourself, which is true. All that's true. But I really love the way that Lalaji talks about it, the first guru in Heartfulness. He defined yama as being the removal of unwanted habits, effectively. So what are you doing? You're getting rid of all the things that you think are not in your best interests. And that could be the case if you wanted to start a business or if you wanted to, excel in anything. But in yoga, it's about reaching the goal of oneness or union, which is what the word yoga means. So basically what yama is about is getting rid of all the things that get in the way of that.
Yama involves the cultivation of 5 qualities, the first of which is ahimsa, or non-violence.
Anything that would hurt another being. So think about this in terms of our current human crisis. So we're not just talking about not hurting your best friend or not hurting your spouse. We're talking from that very personal level of not hurting other people around you, but also not hurting communities, not hurting the planet, not hurting the environment. So it has a huge repercussion right now in terms of the state that humanity's in.
The second and third quality associated with yama are satya and asteya, or truthfulness and honesty.
It doesn't mean that you're so truthful that you hurt other people, because ahimsa's there, right? You've already got ahimsa as the foundation, the first yama. But that you're not pretending. You've taken away the layers that cover your authentic self. So it's all about authenticity, it's all about purity, because you're removing unnecessary stuff again.
The final 2 qualities associated with yama are brahmacharya and aparigraha, or moderation of senses and non-possessiveness.
Much of our effort is to gain social acceptance and reverence, respect. Somehow all of humanity craves, and that's why. Otherwise we can live, if we become spiritual beings, then you don't really care much about what others think of you. You don't have to have a wonderful sofas and this and gadget to show off. You say, I do not need his appreciation at all. You are content within yourself. Then our needs dwindle. We become, if we don't need much, the moment you say, I am content, I am happy, all I need is some good food, some nice dress to wear, and a place to stay, that should be good enough. I don't need a big bungalow, I don't need a big car, I don't need recognition, I'm fine. That's the way. Then this climate change, you say you do forestation, you do this, change your lifestyle.
It seems reasonable to suggest that a person imbued with the qualities of yama would not take decisions that would harm the environment.
Yoga is one thing that helps us understand our limits, where to stop.
A yogi is somebody who doesn't impact even one atom of the environment around him without need to. Has such self-mastery, has such centeredness and a feeling of just being contented with what they have, that they wouldn't impinge on anything unless they had to. I mean, it's an incredible thought, yeah, because this is somebody with a zero thought footprint and a zero feeling footprint in the world. They're not going around, bombarding people with emotions, or, they don't walk into a room making a huge fuss. A person like that is almost invisible.
A true yogi lives a life that is in tune with nature. Such a shift in consciousness may seem unrealistic to some, and some may feel it will take a long time. But in reality, it takes less than a generation to witness such a shift. Consider what has been achieved at Kanha Shantivanam, the International Heartfulness Center in Telangana, India, in just a handful of years. Before 2014, this was a barren, arid landscape. The project started as a center devoted to research and practice in the field of yoga, particularly heartfulness meditation. Under the guidance of Daaджи, heartfulness volunteers first built a temporary structure here so people could meditate.
And when we close our eyes and meditate, not only we see what not to do, but some inner guidance also comes in and says, okay, let's do this. When we began working here at Kanha, it's a central part of India, the rainfall was generally about 600 millimeters, 600 millimeters per year. And that too also, it would come only during 2 months, and the remaining 10 months we will not have rains. And that's where we started. Actually, we were forced to start something like that here because the land was very cheap. And we could not afford to buy something which was very expensive. So it forced us to buy this lesser fertile soil. But it became a blessing for us. We learned so many new things, new methods, how we can convert this poor, infertile soil and make it rich. And you can see through our photographs and videos the change that has been brought about.
This amazing transformation was made possible by the efforts of a dedicated team committed to yoga and meditation.
Each year we are observing the water flow, how rain is coming, where the water is flowing, where we can store. So we want to store the water at the top side of the site. So bottom side automatically land mass will increase, land moisture will increase. So that's how we started from this memorial pond, and we started deepening it, and we revived the pond.
The team also went to great lengths to rescue and transplant fully grown trees that were marked for felling in government road widening projects.
Some of the trees we used 4 crane, mega crane, because 150 over banyan tree, imagine, even neem trees, big neem trees, we can't travel daytimes. So main road, so all the activities, all the drama will happen in the overnight. Every day night, दिन पूरा prepare करेगा, packing करेगा, we will do all the makeup. Then night we will move the plant to the crane. The whole day travel, the night travel, they will reach in Kanha mornings 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
And this is all achieved within, I would say, 4 years of planting these trees.
Ghana Shantivanam is testament to the transformative power of yoga. However, there is one question that remains. Yoga has been around for thousands of years. If it really could have such a far-reaching impact on the environment, why hasn't it already done so?
In the past, it hasn't been widely available to people. You know, people would have to trek to India and climb mountains and, you know, find teachers and all that sort of stuff, which wasn't always easy. And also it was couched in this sort of mystique of lifestyle that was aesthetic. So, you know, there was a lot of hardship and penance and giving up on worldly existence. And, you know, most people want to have a family and want to, you know, to live in the world. I think this idea that yoga is available for everybody has come about in recent times and it's part and parcel of the modern era of yoga. And it's really super important to understand this because, you know, I may not be physically very fit or I may have a disability. I can still do chair yoga, hatha yoga, chair yoga and get great benefits. The way that yoga has evolved to be available to people with chronic diseases as yoga therapy, with disabilities, with so many different things. Children, elderly, it's not just for aesthetics who practice 8 or 10 hours a day.
With the newfound accessibility of yoga, perhaps the best way to try out its impact on the environment is to test it out at an individual level. As we think of our role in taking care of Mother Earth, it may be wise to begin with the heart. Meditation, or dhyan, as it is referred to in Ashtanga Yoga, can create a positive and compassionate inner atmosphere. This can reflect in our actions. Even if we become slightly more compassionate and slightly more loving, that is a start. We should not underestimate our impact because big change comes from small steps.